Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our weather video for Thursday, the 1st of September, the beginning of spring on the meteorological calendar. 3 more weeks to go if you're waiting for the astronomical date, which is around the spring equinox. Let's get into the wind map. Today you can see high pressure near the Chatham Islands, driving a southeasterly flow right up to Fiji, Vanuatu and New Caledonia, and then that easterly carries on into parts of Queensland. The rest of Australia is actually seeing a bit of a southerly flow coming in here around Adelaide and curving around as a mild northeasterly for parts of Western Australia. And in the New Zealand zone, with that high departing, light winds in the north, but a mild northerly wind now kicking in further down the country. And we've got stormy weather down in the Southern Ocean, which is going to dominate our weather in New Zealand, at least for the first week of September. So let's try and make sense of what is happening. Here is the rainfall for the next 3 days on the west coast. We're talking up to 200 millimetres or more in some areas. So that's quite a lot of rain, but it is falling in an area that usually copes with it quite well. But there could be road closures and problems around the west coast, especially in this blue shaded area. Over on the eastern side, the green showing you just a few showers, nothing much coming through for you. And over here, even less rainfall. So the bulk of the rain's on the western side of the country. That's a bit of a sign that a spring pattern is starting to show up. And we've got a bit of snow on the way as well, mostly up in the mountains, but there's a lot coming through for some of these areas, potentially up to 1 metre of snow on the tops, very tops of the mountains. Lower down, you can see a few flurries coming through, and we are seeing a little bit of snow that could come into northern Southland around Sunday night or Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, Monday, around then. So Gore, Lumsden, Balfour, those sorts of areas could be seeing a few snow flurries. It's not likely to linger too long, only a few days, but that's still, at this time of the year, quite significant. So there is the weather map for Friday, the end of the week. Rain coming into the west coast, mild nor'westers blowing through, fairly calm in the north of New Zealand. Over in Australia, big high pressure zone here, driving in a colder southerly for Adelaide, Melbourne and Hobart. A bit later on it comes into Canberra and also into Sydney, and more of that wet weather continues through the inland areas. As we go into the weekend, you'll see that rain slide further up the coastline and actually out to sea. For Queensland, it starts to move away as this very powerful high comes in. The high takes up most of the screen. That's driving in a cooler southerly or a southeasterly for some of you. And on the other side, you've got a small area of low pressure driving more wet weather into Western Australia. And on the New Zealand side, this is where things get a little bit interesting this weekend. You've got this northwesterly flow. You've got rain moving up the west coast, and it starts to change on Saturday because of this stormy stuff down in the Southern Ocean. So look at Sunday's weather map. Quite a dramatic one. Lots of low pressure down here. A lot of isobars. They start to break apart as they move into the New Zealand area, but certainly Southland and Fiordland are exposed to that wintry weather as we go through Sunday. And we've got low pressure now forming outside of Australia as this high continues to track eastwards. Now we've got a low forming up here to the north. Now next week is getting quite interesting. Monday kicks off with that wintry southerly in the south and some low-level snow flurries just in this zone here. So Monday is definitely going to be a cold day. Be aware with the newborn lambs in particular. This is a cold event coming through for you. But up in the north, it's a different setup, and you got that low pressure zone nearby. So by Tuesday of next week, that low from the sort of subtropical area moves through, and it drives in easterlies and rain. So for those of you who watched our Climate Watch update yesterday, you'll notice that the rainfall for September is a little bit higher in this area. This is the reason why, that low tracking on through. And look at the South Island. Yes, you've got a wintry southerly coming through, but the skies are drying out. So there's some good news for you. And by the middle of next week, high pressure starting to push in, drying out a lot around New Zealand. You've got maybe some frosts here and there through sheltered areas as a result of that colder southerly. Colder airflows moving into the North Island, although not too extreme. And in Australia, quite a variety going on here as well as that high departs. Milder northerlies coming down through this zone, and over here it's a colder southerly. So there's quite a lot going on. Spring-like, it's getting mixed up a lot more. Warm days, cold days, classic sort of setup. Don't forget, Climate Watch, it is out now. So if you're looking to get the weather forecast for not only the month of September, but the season of spring, you'll find that at weatherwatch.co.nz at Rural Weather, or just go to our YouTube page. We'll see you tomorrow with our next update.